we come to our time of devotion. I would invite you, if you are able, to read and do the devotion before our worship time. We are going to be doing our heart and soul devotion that we have set up. It's a devotion that's wonderful. During the week, you work through the Psalms, and on the Sundays, we are going to work together on these heart devotionals. But I would invite you, like I said, to do the devotion beforehand. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to hopefully summarize it and kind of do some of my own reflections on it, but you can go so many different ways. And I think that's one of the amazing things about these devotions, is you see where God is speaking to you in your life, where you are at. So today, February 21st, we are going to hear from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 19 to 21. Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consume, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Our reflection for today got me thinking about something very dear to me, something that I treasure, something that even imagining damage being caused to it gets me kind of anxious. These are my precious annual yearbooks for our family. Each year, since Adrian and I got married, I have compiled a yearbook highlighting events for the year. And if there are any special events, like the birth of a child or some really fun trip, I make a book for that too. But I have to be honest with you. I don't look at these books all that often, but they are my memories. While getting ready for this devotion, I decided to open up this very first book that I made. It is our wedding album. And do you know what I found? The binding is beginning to detach a little bit. I have to admit, when I first looked at that, it sent me into a bit of a tizzy. Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust consume and where thieves break in and steal. Have you ever had one of those times when it seems like the text is speaking directly to you at the ideal time? That's what happened for me. And our devotion for today uses a similar story to talk about earthly and heavenly treasures too. And it points to the fact that these things that we put so much value into, at least that's how I am with my books, they aren't actually worth all that much. Even if it does cost me a pretty penny to make, create, and send these books. But the real value is the memories that they connect us to. I mean, these books, when I open them, they don't, memories don't kind of flood into me. Those memories are already there, but they point to those special moments and all these times, these things that our family has experienced for almost 12 years of marriage. Jesus, like he does so much, uses his lessons to instruct us, not by telling us what to believe. Instead, Jesus uses these to challenge us, to question our motives, to give us a pause moment, to step back and to look at what is truly important to us, right? Maybe it's a way of looking at things in a different way. Asher might say, sneaky Jesus. we are reminded that treasures are easily damaged when we place them on those physical things. And when we are challenged, what happens then to our heart when those physical things are damaged? I mean, we collect, we stockpile, we bury ourselves in stuff that we tell ourselves we need. I'm going to do this. I do this more often than I care to admit, right? I might need these things just in case, we tell ourselves. This lesson that Jesus imparts onto us, he does this a number of times throughout his teachings. He's challenging us to shift our focus from the earthly to the heavenly. But how do we store up those heavenly things? I think we've all heard the saying, you can't take a U-Haul with you to heaven, right? These yearbooks take me to special times, and I make them each year. But each year I debate whether it's worth spending the time and the money for something we don't really open up all that often. But I continue to do it because of the memories that they bring up for me, those special times, the good ones, the bad ones, the happy ones, the sad ones, the challenging ones. Like in our devotion today, these are reminders of what is of real value to us. Jesus isn't telling us to live our lives in this one way, but he's calling us to love and to look at things in a whole new way. We are beginning this season of Lent. And this is a time that we can use to redirect, to refocus, to reevaluate where our hearts lie. That's one of the things that I love the most about Lent, is that it isn't about giving things up. We try and we think that we need to suffer and to do away with things, but it's really about resetting our hearts in the ways that God is calling us to live. Now, there are some questions at the end of your devotion each day, and I would invite you to look at them. There are some coloring pages throughout this devotional, and I invite you to color them. I even give you permission to color outside the lines, because this is a time to reconnect, to reevaluate, to see where our treasures lie. Because when we see that, we also see where our heart is too. So let us begin this journey of Lent together.